Hello everybody. Want to show you another game coming to Kickstarter, this time on Thursday, May 17th. It's called Yard of the Month. In this card game, you take the role of a resident in the neighborhood trying to win the coveted award of Yard of the Month in the neighborhood of Gnome Crossing. This game by BrainBox Gaming Company is for 2 to 6 players, ages 8 and up, and it takes anywhere from 10 to 60 minutes to play, depending on how many players you have and what's going on. So we're going to go ahead and me and Gothy are going to get it to the table, show you a quick setup and some gameplay, go through the cards. It's called Yard of the Month. So we're going to go through the cards and set up in a couple turns of Yard of the Month, just to show you a little bit of the gameplay and everything for when it comes to Kickstarter. You'll know what's going on. So there's 7 different cards in the game. Let's see, the first ones of importance are flowers. Let's see the flower right there. These are basically the most important cards in the game, because at the end of the game, you want to have 10 flowers that are fully planted in your yard. So whenever you play them, you first play them face down as a seed in your play area, which shows that you've got your seed planted and it's ready. And at the beginning of your next turn, any seeds you have in your garden will be turned face up to the flower side and will count as a flower. So they're the most important cards in the game. This is what you're trying to get and make sure you keep in your hand. The next one is the weeds. Weeds you use to place in your opponent's garden to stop them from being able to grow flowers. Whenever a weed is placed in an opponent's garden, any seeds they have in their garden are immediately discarded. And the weed stays in their garden. And at the beginning of the next turn, any flowers that they have in their garden will be discarded on a 1-for-1 basis, depending on how many weeds you have. So if you have 1 weed in your garden, you'll have to discard 1 flower. If you have 2 weeds in your garden, you'll have to discard 2 flowers, and so forth. Now, you don't discard all your flowers, only the amount of weeds, and the weeds do not get discarded. They will stay in that garden, so that on each subsequent turn, at the beginning of it, they will make you discard a flower from your garden. So you really want to try to get rid of weeds, or stop them from being planted in your garden in the first place. Which brings us to the gardening tools. The gardening tool card has a multi-purpose. It is used not only to, if you use it at the beginning of your turn, or even during your turn if you end up drawing it, you can use it to remove all weeds from your garden. Or if it's on an opponent's turn, an opponent tries to plant a weed in your garden, you can use it as like a cancel card to stop them. That weed will get discarded and the gardening tools will get discarded also. Or the last one, I almost always forget about this one. The last thing you can use it for is if you discard it during your turn, you can take another turn afterwards. So it's a pretty reliable card to have and to use. The next useful card is the fertilizer. Fertilizer will allow you to immediately grow your seeds into flowers. Any seeds you have in your garden, you can immediately grow them into flowers. And then there's the hammer. Hammer does what a hammer is supposed to do. A hammer smashes gnomes. Because gnomes are, well, there's 2 gnomes in the game that we'll get to afterwards. And they either are helpful or harmful. And you can only have 1 gnome in your garden at a time. So this comes in useful for bashing the bad gnome if it's in your garden, or bashing the good gnome if it's in another player's garden, because the gnomes kind of hinder you or help you, depending. So there's 2 gnomes in the game right here. There is Nick. Nick, you place in your garden. And if it is in your garden, it prevents your opponent from being able to plant weeds in your garden. And then there is Knack. Knack the gnome. If you place Knack the gnome in an opponent's garden, it will prevent them from planting any seeds, or their seeds from growing into flowers on their turn. It does not immediately remove any seeds or remove any flowers, but it will prevent them from achieving the goal of the game, which is to have 10 flowers in their garden at the end of the turn. So, those are the 7 cards in the game. So we'll go ahead and get these shuffled up. It's a little bit of a big stack of cards.
I'm not doing it.
So I'm going to give half of them to Gothy to shuffle up. I'll shuffle up half and tell you the turn order. So the turn order goes at the beginning of your turn. If you have any seeds in your garden, they immediately grow to flowers, unless you have any weeds in your garden, and then you will have to get rid of 1 flower per weed that's in your garden. And then you're going to go ahead and draw up to your maximum hand size, which is 5. Then you can play any number of cards in your hand, to your garden, to your opponent's garden, whatever you want to do. And then you'll be able to discard any cards that you don't want. And then you end your turn and play passes to the opponent. I'll take Gothy's stack over there, shuffle them both together like that. I'll give it one more quick shuffle. So at the beginning of the game, everybody starts with 5 cards. So we'll go ahead and get them passed out here. 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then you place the draw pile to the side. Make sure you leave room for a discard pile. And then decide who goes first. Usually it's whoever has had the most gardening experience. Oh, Gothy wants to play rock, paper, scissors. Hey, for who goes first. Okay, play rock, paper, scissors. Ready? 1, 2, paper. And okay, so Gothy,
I win all the time.
You win. So Gothy is going to play first. So if you have,
I don't draw before.
You don't draw because it's the first turn of the game. Everybody's got a maximum hand. So she's going to plant some seeds in her garden. And then she's playing Nick the gnome. So I cannot play any weeds in her garden.
And that's all I could do.
That's all she could do. So at the beginning of my turn, let's see, what do I want to do? I am going to use a hammer to bust her Nick.
Because you don't like gnomes.
I don't like gnomes. Gnomes.
He wasn't doing anything to you.
Yep. And then I'm going to go ahead and plant my own seeds in my garden right there. And then I'm going to plant a weed in Gothy's garden. So weeds, when planted, they immediately get rid of those seeds. And they go.
I thought it was only one at a time.
No, that's flowers on their turn. Come on. You're quite trying to change the rules. Better for you. Now, if you had any gardening tools in your hand, you can. Okay. And then I am going to play some fertilizer. Play the fertilizer to immediately grow my seeds into flowers. Discard the fertilizer. But then I have nothing in my hand, which is fine because you draw up at the beginning of your turn, if applicable. And play pass play to Gothy. So, yeah, weeds would normally make her discard a flower, but since she doesn't have any flowers, she just skips to the draw. She draws up to her hand size of 5. And she's going to play Knack the Gnome. So now it'll prevent any of my seeds from growing into flowers. And
Can I
also,
play Nick? Can I play Nick?
Yeah, you can play Nick in your garden.
Get rid of him?
Nick, no, does not get rid of any weeds.
Prevents.
Yeah, it protects you from weeds. It doesn't remove any weeds that are already in your garden. It prevents me from planting any more weeds in your garden, but it doesn't remove those.
Completely useless now. Why did you put Knack in your garden?
You put Knack in my garden.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna put weeds in there too.
And she's gonna put some weeds in my garden also.
Go.
Okay, so at the beginning of my turn, I don't have any seeds to grow into flowers anyway, but this one weed makes me get rid of one of these flowers. And then I will draw up to 5 cards. 2, 3, 4, and 5. I really can't do anything right now since I have Knack in my garden. I don't have a hammer. She's got Nick in her garden, so I can't put any more weeds in her garden.
You can put them in yours.
That's funny. Nope. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to discard some of these cards right now. I'm going to go ahead and discard 2 cards at the end of my turn. I'm not going to play any cards. And then I will pass the turn. Okay, gardening tools. Gothy's playing some gardening tools to get rid of those weeds right there. And then she's planting some seeds.
And then I'm discarding the rest of my hand.
And she's going to discard the whole rest of her hand, so she's left with nothing.
Nothing.
You get nothing. Absolutely nothing. So beginning my turn, I've got 3 cards. This weed, beginning my turn, makes me lose that flower. And I will draw 2 cards since I already have 3 in my hand. I'm going to go ahead and use this gardening tool to get rid of those weeds. Even though I still can't plant any seeds because I have knack in my garden. So let's see. I'm gonna discard that note right there. So I got 3 cards in my hand. Okay. So now, beginning of your turn, all your seeds turn into flowers first.
I forgot.
And then you get the draw. Planting a seed.
Sorry.
Planting a seed.
Discarding 2.
Those are discarding 2, and she's keeping 1 in her hand for later. Okay, beginning of my turn, I have no seeds and I have no weeds, so I'll go ahead and go to the draw phase and draw 2 cards to fill my hand up to 5. I do not have anything I can do, but I've got a full hand. So at the beginning of next turn, I won't be able to draw anything. So I'm going to have to discard some of these, even though my hand is all full of good stuff. Where are the hammers? Hammer, hammer, hammer. Okay, I'm going to discard 2 flowers. It hurts. And I will say go. Go ahead and go through one more turn. You can play, and then I'll play. And then we'll go ahead and get to the review.
Yeah,
beginning of your turn. Yeah, I know. I was too busy talking. Yeah, you said you flip those up first.
Kind of look like the backs.
Yeah. Okay, she's planting some more seeds. She currently has 4 flowers. She's way ahead of me right now.
Fertilizer.
And fertilizer to immediately grow those seeds into flowers.
And I'll see you.
Alright, she's going to keep those 2 cards in her hand and not discard any. Okay, let's go ahead. Yep, nothing for me, so I got to draw 2 cards. Hopefully I get a hammer. No, but I am going to... See, I'm going to discard, or I'm going to play the gardening tools to take an extra turn after this one. You can only do that once per round. So even if I got another gardening tool, I couldn't just go again and keep going as long as I have them. I'm going to go ahead and discard those 2 cards and then take my turn. So I'll draw 3. 1, 2, and 3. Aha! Hammer! Go ahead and breaking knack.
Yay.
Yay! So I might actually get to plant some stuff. Here we go. I'm going to plant 1. I'm going to put a Nick the gnome in my garden also to prevent you from planting any weeds in my garden. And I will pass turn. Go ahead and take one more turn. I'm going to see if I can get some flowers. Let's see, maybe possibly you might win.
I always do.
Yeah, if I had a hammer, I'd hammer in the morning. Oh, she's planting some seeds.
Then I'll discard 3.
Discard 3 so keep 1 in the hand. Okay, beginning my turn. This one, bing. Go ahead and draw 3 cards. Let me see. I got a bunch of good stuff in my hand, but nothing to help me out right now. All right, so that's your basic gameplay for Yard of the Month. So let's go ahead and get to the review. So as you can see, Yard of the Month is a pretty simple concept to grasp. It's just to play your cards out. You're trying to one-up your opponent. Really take that mechanic. To just be placing out your seeds and your fertilizer, and then you're playing the weeds on your opponent. I think the only thing we didn't like about the game is that sometimes you're just stuck there doing nothing. You're just sitting there. You've got you got knack in your yard, so you can't plant any flowers, and there's no hammers coming up. There's no nothing, or you're sitting there with a bunch of weeds and you're not getting any yard equipment, any yard tools to be able to remove the weeds. Sometimes you're just sitting there for turns after turns, trying to discard your hand and then drawing up and not getting anything. And it kind of gets a little bit repetitive after a while. But on the other hand, we've had games where it went perfectly. You got your hammers right when you need them. You got your yard tools, and the game went pretty quick, pretty simple, and pretty fun. Yeah, so I guess it all depends. Maybe it's just a shuffle of cards. I'm not sure how well balanced it is with the good cards against the bad cards, and how many of them you have. Maybe the creators will take another look at that. You know how balanced it is. But other than that, it's a pretty fun game. Go ahead and check it out on Kickstarter. It's Yard of the Month by BrainBox Game Company. It's coming on Thursday, May 17th. You know, which is tomorrow by the recording of this video. So go ahead and check it out. I'm Logan for Logan Chops Reviews. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button so you get some more videos coming to you for more previews for Kickstarters, reviews, and gameplay videos. You know, and also check out our subscribers. You'll see their icons at the end of this video, and also you'll find their links in the description below. Go ahead and check them out on Facebook and their websites. And we'll see you next time. Logan Chops Reviews. Thanks for watching.